think he's small. So I don't want to focus on it being like about Jake. Oh, Jake's small, so that makes me confident. Jake's this, so that makes me confident. I'm just focused on myself. I'm confident in myself. Jake could be 10th, I'm confident in myself. That's what I'm saying. It's not about how he is. I just...
Yeah, it's long run.
You do some pads today?
Yes, sir. Do some pads, yeah. We're going to do some pads today. And then technique and all that stuff, you know. No fight is easy. No matter how hard you train and how... You just got to get lucky. You know, so what we're training for now is just to get lucky.
Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua are pushing their limits as fight night approaches. With just 5 days to go, AJ is fine-tuning his power, stamina, and technique, while Jake is zeroing in on speed, timing, and precision. In his camp, Jake exudes confidence, studying every move and preparing to shock the world, convinced that his rigorous training will give him the edge once the bell rings.
The fact that it's a harder challenge for me. People had a lot of excuses against Gervonta and, oh, it's a smaller guy, blah, 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 the weight difference, and now I flip-flop the roles. Everyone thinks I'm gonna die, and they don't know what I'm capable of. And so being the underdog and being able to go in there and showcase what I'm gonna do to Anthony is more exciting for me.
Anthony Joshua enters training fully aware that no fight comes easy. He respects Jake Paul as a formidable opponent and approaches every session with unwavering focus and intensity, sharpening his technique, power, and endurance. AJ pushes himself harder than ever. Every punch, every drill is calculated. Every movement is precise. His determination is undeniable, leaving nothing to chance as he prepares to face Jake Paul with the seriousness and respect that any true competitor deserves.
How much work goes into them sessions. It's going to be a tough fight. No fight is easy. No matter how hard you train and how... You just got to get lucky. You know, so what we're training for now is just to get lucky. Miss a punch that could have hurt, catch you with a punch that's going to hurt him. So it's kind of like when they say...
As the countdown to one of the most surprising bouts in boxing history draws near, Jake Paul radiates unwavering confidence. In a recent interview, he boldly declared that he believes he can knock out Anthony Joshua, pointing to AJ's past vulnerabilities. Paul noted how Joshua has been hurt by smaller opponents before, suggesting that the former heavyweight champion is far from invincible. He asserted that his own preparation has armed him with the skill and power to land punches capable of significantly impacting Joshua, setting the stage for a showdown that has fans, analysts, and critics on edge. A key dimension of this matchup lies in the psychological battle. Jake Paul's public statements about knocking out Joshua serve a dual purpose. They reinforce his own confidence while attempting to plant seeds of doubt in his opponent's mind. Meanwhile, Joshua's calm, methodical approach reflects a veteran understanding of how to handle hype and external pressure. This mental tug-of-war is a fundamental element of boxing, where composure under stress can be just as decisive as physical skill. Analysts have noted that this psychological layer makes the fight as compelling as the physical clash itself, adding depth to what might otherwise be dismissed as mere spectacle.
In his style, and styles make fights, we all know that. He's lost to guys who are shorter mostly and lighter mostly, and faster than him. I see holes in his game. I see punches that I can land that can hurt him. Now, he can definitely land punches on me, knock me out. He's more experienced, Olympic gold medalist, two-time heavyweight champion of the world. This is definitely insane. I have to fight a perfect fight to be able to beat this guy, but I think that I'm capable of that. And to me, at the end of the day, all of this is experience. All of this is fun. All of this is getting in there and continuing to improve my skills as I work toward a world championship in my own weight class. I'm fighting at heavyweight.
Oh, we lost them. They're trying to bog them down.
At the end of the day, I'm going in there and I'm getting better.
You're fighting at heavyweight. You cut off real quickly whenever you said you're fighting at heavyweight. How much weight is that more? How much heavier are you fighting at this for this particular fight?
Yes, I'm fighting like 50 pounds out of my weight class. Normally I fight at 200 and Anthony Joshua will be around 250.
Okay, so this fight's happening. There's people that have mentioned, like, there's no way this fight is actually happening, just strictly because of what you just said right there. I mean, the weight difference, everything else, signing up for this because you're supposed to fight somebody else, Tank backs out, now you fight Anthony Joshua. I think there's a lot of people that think this is all some gimmick because of what you just said right there. This is not the case. You understand that you're going in there with a man who's not supposed to fight somebody that is at your weight. He's supposed to be fighting heavier people that are bigger people, which in theory, stronger people, maybe more durable people. There's weight classes for a reason. In your mind, that is just, hey, this is a challenge I need to take on. That's kind of the mindset that you've taken?
Yeah, for sure. The fight is definitely happening first and foremost. We're 9 days away right now. But at the end of the day, I like...
David Haye and Johnny Nelson broke down the high stakes surrounding the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua fight, highlighting the intense pressure each fighter faces. They pointed out that Joshua cannot afford anything less than a flawless performance. Unlike Paul, Joshua must dominate from the opening round, deliver powerful and precise punches, and avoid being clipped, pushed back, or hurt. Any misstep could harm his reputation, as he is expected to uphold his legacy as a former world champion. Haye and Nelson emphasized that the pressure on Joshua is immense because this fight is about securing a decisive victory and maintaining his credibility. In contrast, Jake Paul faces far fewer expectations, entering the ring as the underdog. Any success Paul achieves is viewed as extraordinary. The analysts stress that while Paul is taking a significant risk by challenging a heavyweight champion, Joshua must perform near perfectly to meet both public and professional expectations.
Joshua can't win in round 3. Anthony Joshua needs to win in the first round and win devastating. He can't be getting clipped with shots. He can't get him pushed back. He has to have the cleanest performance.
And if it
of
lasts
his whole
that long,
career.
Jake Paul needs to be holding on to it for dear life to last that long.
Yeah, so
Jake Paul commercially has just as much to lose and can affect his commercial elevation if he does anything less than be his best. Commercially, he doesn't need Jake Paul.
I think the pressure's on Jake Paul. The pressure's not on Anthony Joshua. Sorry, the pressure's on Anthony Joshua. The pressure is not on Jake Paul because no one's expecting Jake Paul to do anything. So he's free. Whatever happens, he's gone out there and done something extraordinary. He's put himself in harm's way, to try to achieve this crazy goal. So but Anthony Joshua, on the other hand, he's only doing it for the cash, for the money, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But he can't look bad. He can't get knocked down. He can't get a cut. He can't be missing wildly. He has to have a punch-perfect performance to justify, just like Ngannou. Really. If he has the same performance against Ngannou,
job's done.
The job's done. But is he going to be motivated enough to be able to switch on? Because he was razor sharp. I was there at ringside with you watching that fight, and that was as sharp as I've seen AJ look.
And the other thing is, Ngannou looked scary. Jake Paul doesn't.
Yeah.
And Ngannou was thick, thick,
big
and that
man,
wide.
I
was interviewing him, so next I'm thinking, damn, you're getting in with him.
Yeah.
And you're now thinking, if this guy gets one shot off, Jake Paul doesn't have any of that about him. So you're not looking at him thinking, he might get a shot.
Well, if you look at Jake Paul's training footage, he puts out snippets all over his kind of social media and on YouTube. It looks like his secret weapon for the fight against AJ is his...
Both fighters have been pushing themselves to the limit in their respective training camps. Analysts, including Henry, have closely examined Jake Paul's preparation, noting that while his heavy bag work is impressive, it doesn't necessarily translate to facing a seasoned opponent like Anthony Joshua. Hitting a bag with power is one thing. Going toe-to-toe with a former heavyweight champion is another. Henry cautioned fans to temper their expectations, pointing out that Paul's highlight reels may make him look ready, but the true test will come when he steps into the ring with AJ. Meanwhile, Anthony Joshua has been training with meticulous attention to every detail. Even after periods of inactivity, he remains a powerhouse, concentrating on endurance, precision, and defensive techniques. His camp demonstrates that experience and skill development are crucial when preparing for a fight of this magnitude. The contrast between Paul's unconventional preparation and Joshua's traditional heavyweight training creates a compelling narrative, highlighting a clash not just of fighters, but of styles and backgrounds.
Released. It's got a lot of people getting quite excited in the comments in particular saying, wow, he's improved so much. Look at the technique. He actually might cause problems. You know, the sort of wide-eyed emoji. Is he going to cause an upset? Now, look, I don't give two shits how you look on the heavy bag. I'm going to be very honest with you. Do you know how many guys I see in the boxing gym I train in who look absolutely sensational on the heavy bag and then wouldn't last 2 seconds against Anthony Joshua? The thing that the average person fails to understand is that looking good on the heavy bag, sure, it means you have a fundamental understanding of boxing technique, and clearly Jake has improved in that area. You'd hope so after years and years of training. But the thing that people don't understand about boxing is when you actually get in the ring with someone who's trying to beat you, who's trying to punch you in the face and break you, suddenly holding that shape becomes much, much more difficult when you're getting hit by shots, when you're taking them to the guard, when you're having to move your legs constantly, and more importantly, as you get tired. Even the best pros start to lose their shape when fatigue kicks in. That's why more knockouts can happen later as the fight goes on. So look, yeah, I did think he looked nice on the heavy bag. He's moving his feet well, his balance looked good, his hand positioning was good when he was throwing, his chin was tucked in, all the things you really look for in basic technique. Does it mean he has a hope in hell of beating Anthony Joshua? Absolutely not. But at the same time, I'll admit, I understand what the hype is about. He looked pretty nice in that clip, but many people can, is my point. The final thing to address is this rumor that's been going around. I think it was Johnny Nelson who started it, that Don Charles has been brought into Jake Paul's training camp. There's been some news articles about it, but to be honest with you, I've not seen any photos. I've not seen any footage. I've seen absolutely nothing to indicate that Don Charles has been part of that camp. And in fact, Don Charles was tagged in a photo on Instagram a few days ago at an event he was at a boxing gym near Watford in the UK. So clearly he's not been actually involved in the camp. Will Jake Paul fly him out for fight week to try and disrupt Anthony Joshua? I mean, it's entirely possible. Obviously, Don Charles coached Daniel Dubois to the victory over Joshua. It was one of...
Former world champion Paulie Malignaggi has been outspoken about the dynamics of this fight. While acknowledging Jake Paul's dedication to training and sparring, Malignaggi emphasized that preparation alone may not be enough against a fighter of Anthony Joshua's caliber. He made it clear that Joshua's raw power, experience, and ability to perform under pressure cannot be underestimated. Malignaggi's assessment reinforces the idea that this bout is far from a guaranteed victory for Paul, despite his confidence and high-profile promotional efforts. Commentary from a seasoned boxer adds credibility and perspective, reminding fans that in boxing, preparation meets reality under the unforgiving lights of the ring. The buzz surrounding the fight has reached unprecedented levels, drawing attention from mainstream media, social platforms.
I wouldn't consider him shot or anything, and even a shot AJ would still, you know, would still likely beat a Jake Paul in my eyes. But I don't necessarily see AJ as a shot fighter at all, you know. And also, the thing about AJ is he's a rather serious guy. This is not Chavez Jr., you know. So he takes anything he does very seriously. He's got a backbone to him. He's got a character to him. So, you know, he's not going to let himself be clowned by, you know, allowing Jake to survive or allowing Jake to play around or allowing Jake to, you know, just make him look bad in general. So you know, that's the thing about AJ. If you know his character, I've worked a lot of AJ fights and I've been around AJ enough, you know, to kind of observe his character. This is a very serious human being and man, you know, so, and he takes this kind of stuff very personally and very seriously, you know, so he's not going to be looking to make a mockery of himself. And so from that perspective, I don't see a guy like AJ going easy on Jake at all.
He's going in there to knock him out, and anything less, it's going to be a disappointment to him. So does he knock him out?
I mean, yeah, he knocked out Ngannou, right? And I think most people would think Ngannou is better than Jake, right? I mean, you saw what he did to Ngannou. He cut through Ngannou like it was nothing, like a hot knife through butter. So yeah, I mean, I would expect nothing less. We'll see. We'll see how they go. I mean, obviously, you give Jake some credit for having the balls to do this. But then again, Jake is also doing what we all used to say when I was my age, and Shmo, you're a little younger than me. When we were kids, and then we would joke around, and Mike Tyson was the big deal. We would all say, for $1 million, I get in the ring with Mike Tyson. You know, like, well, I guess for $90 million, Jake's gonna get in the ring with AJ. You know, so I think that's what the equivalent of it is. So is it bravery? Is it just, hey, you give me enough?
Forms and casual fans alike. Paul's crossover appeal as a social media personality has amplified the fight's reach, while Joshua's championship pedigree ensures that hardcore boxing fans are paying close attention. This intersection of celebrity and elite sport has created a narrative that blends entertainment, risk, and technical skill. As fight night approaches, Public discourse is increasingly focused on who will dominate and whether Paul's confidence can translate into tangible results against a heavyweight with a proven track record.
You'll be there for that?
I am. I'm going out next week for 5 days.
You're looking forward to the event, and how does it sit with you as we kind of approach it?
Well, I've been hammered by Eddie Hearn and Nikisa Bidarian over my Telegraph columns on this. And I don't think I've said anything out of order or out of the ordinary, which is probably shouldn't be licensed. It's a very dangerous fight for Jake Paul. He's delusionally optimistic about this. He's probably too brave for his own good. Physically, I think it's a dangerous fight for him. I hope he gets hurt to the body and stopped, not knocked out horribly like Francis Ngannou was. I don't think it will be licensed in the UK. Imagine Tommy Fury, who beat him, getting licensed to fight Anthony Joshua in the UK. Couldn't see it. Spoke to Robert Smith, the boxing board, who said he wouldn't license it. And I also said that Anthony Joshua could destroy his legacy if something goes wrong, and perhaps it demeans boxing. I wrote those things in 2 Telegraph columns. Eddie Hearn said he was banning me, but thankfully I've got a credential.
It's not his show, is it?
It's not his show, it's MVP's show, and Nikisa Bidarian stuck it on me at the press conference out there a little bit, to said, you know, why you are going against the promotion. All I said was, and I said it after the press conference, Anthony Joshua's taking this really seriously. It's a circus show, it's a freak show. We've seen this in boxing in the past. I don't see a way how Jake Paul wins, but I still need to be there. If the tree falls in the forest and you're not there to witness it, does it make a sound? So I'm looking forward to being there.
The boxing world has been abuzz with opinions about the fight, with some figures questioning both its safety and legitimacy. Prominent promoter Eddie Hearn, for example, jokingly suggested banning Jake Paul, capturing the mix of humor and genuine concern surrounding the event. Respected boxing journalist Gareth A. Davies described the matchup as a freak show, pointing to the potential risks to Anthony Joshua's legacy. Davies emphasized that a loss, or even an injury, could have serious repercussions for AJ's reputation, reminding fans that while Paul's rise is entertaining, the fight carries real consequences for a former world champion. This commentary highlights that beyond the spectacle and hype, the matchup has serious implications for Joshua, adding tension and anticipation as fight night draws near.
1% of 1% think Jake Paul has got a chance. And anybody else that tells you differently, they're lying. They don't really think he's going to do it. So you're going to watch this to see, most people watch this to see Jake Paul get his arse given to him. In reality, and they'll also watch it to see how AJ is. Because AJ, you know, he's done it many times before. He's dropped the ball. He's not performed to the best of his ability and lost or got knocked out. Daniel Dubois, Andy Ruiz. I think when he boxed Usyk, you can't blame him for that because Usyk was outstanding. But you know he can do it. So people are thinking, you know what? His last fight we saw him on his face against Dubois, and so the question marks above AJ's head.
Right.
Which AJ will turn up, and even if the wrong AJ turns up, he should still beat Jake Paul. Now, if my worry is AJ going into the fight and underestimating Jake Paul again, and it's hard. You know, it's like you've boxed before, where your original opponent pulls out, they throw a standing in, and you think, and your performance is worse because you can't bring your A game to it because you think, shit, the kid's like not very good. You get rid of them, but it's harder than what it should be in real life. Right. And so I think with AJ, he'll struggle to respect Jake Paul as a threat. And so they're going to be watching AJ. And if Jake Paul gets 15 seconds of success, AJ is going to get vilified. AJ's, oh my goodness. So people are saying he wants to go out there and knock him out. No, he doesn't want to go out there and knock him out. He wants to teach this boy a lesson and torture him. If you're not into boxing and you're hearing this, you think, oh my God, it sounds barbaric. He needs to torture him. We spar with people where you just hit him, dig him in the ribs, and you let him off, leave him breathe a bit, dig him again, and you make him want to go down, and you punch him back up again. He needs to torture him. Right. So he says, no mas. No mas. You know, that's what he needs to, and that way he'll satisfy.
While Jake Paul steps into the ring brimming with confidence, the pressure squarely rests on Anthony Joshua. Analysts Duke McKenzie and Johnny Nelson both emphasize that the risk in this fight falls primarily on the former heavyweight champion. AJ must not only perform at his peak, but also protect his legacy against an opponent who thrives on unpredictability. McKenzie highlighted the psychological dimension, noting that Joshua faces scrutiny not just from fans, but from the entire boxing community, where expectations are especially high for a fighter of his stature. This dynamic, pressure versus confidence, creates a compelling narrative, with Joshua's experience pitted against Paul's audacious self-belief.